Do the space sound.
The space sound?
Like
you mean
like let's freeform improvise all the music today.
All right, that's a good call. We should exercise these muscles that we've got that have been sitting dormant for months.
Yep. Wasting away. Dude, that sounds just like it. It's amazing. Oh shit.
Thanks.
Hold on, let me get the drums going. Yeah, here's the theme. Let's talk. Wait, let's talk. Nice. Did you know that I play jazz?
You play jazz?
Yeah.
I guess I should have known that.
Yeah, well, I do play jazz. I don't brag about it a lot because, don't want to be good at everything, It's like
exactly, leave some talent for other people to explore.
Yeah, just leave some space. Maybe I'll jazz improvise the sponsors.
Oh, let's hear what you got.
This show is brought to you by State Theater Portland. They are a venue that's closed like all the others, but they are still putting on streaming things and helping out with music promotion and good stuff. Learn more at theaterportland.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Swinging.
Yeah. I can't believe I've never exposed this side of myself to you. Also brought to you by... Oh, maybe I'll pick up the tempo here. Ooh. Hold on your hats. Also brought to you by mainspirits.com. Oh, that's not the company name, it's just Main Spirits. But you can go to mainspirits.com and find out more about the the liquors they bring into Maine. Or you can download their app for the smartphone or on Instagram at main_spirits.com.
Yeah, this is some real.
Oh wait, no, wait, hold on.
Stuff.
I fucked up. At main_spirits. It's the website that's mainspirits.com. All right, I'm gonna slow it down. That panicked me out. Let's make this one a little more chill.
You're really reinventing the art form here.
Thanks. The show is also brought to you by Bull Moose, with many locations around Maine and New Hampshire. They are open for safe distance shopping. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's cool, because you can see everything they have in the store on their website, which is conveniently bullmoose.com, and they'll deliver you anything you want to have at home.
Wow.
And brought to you by Sun Tiki. That was a Thelonious Monk shout out.
Ooh.
Sun Tiki. Dun, da, 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 da. Sun Tiki. Sun Tiki is a rehearsal and performance space that's closed because of the fucking pandemic. But they can offer safe distance rehearsals for your band. They even have drums. They even have bass amps and guitars and guitar amps and keyboard stands and microphones. Though you should bring your own microphone these days because of the fucking pandemic. But SunTikiStudios.com is where you wanna go to book some time for your band to rehearse. How about that shit? Feeling that?
Impressive.
All right, I got one more for you. Then I'm spent.
Oh, shit.
I got one more and then I'm toast. We are also proud to sponsor or be sponsored by, I don't know how that works when it comes to nonprofits, but the Maine Music Alliance, which helps out venues like Sun Tiki and the Ophodian and Blue and Mayo Street and others as well. They are raising money to help them pay their bills while there's nobody allowed in there. Learn more at Learn more at mainmusicalliance.com.
Nice. Another reference.
Sun Tiki. All right, let's let the drummer take a break.
I mean, there are great names in jazz. Monk, Mingus, Miles Davis, Bird, Coltrane. Mm-hmm. I think we can safely add Spencer Albee to that list.
Wow,
now.
wow. I mean, I wouldn't have said it, but I'm glad that you did. That's I don't know.
I wouldn't have said it if I didn't say it. So
you wouldn't have said it. You wouldn't have said it if the words didn't actually come out of my mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
that's how you know I said it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That you said that.
It's very true.
None of it. The rest of it is true. However, welcome to the program, Zach. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, in case you're wondering, this is Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe. If you thought that this was This American Life, which I could understand why.
Easily misled by the quality of the intro music.
If you thought that you stumbled onto NPR's Tiny Desk, this is not that. I'm actually at a huge desk. I have an exact replica of the desk from the Oval Office, and that's where I do my show. I mean, yeah, it's like that. It's a replica in that it has 4 legs and a top. It's like a minimalist recreation. It's art.
In the same way, my desk is also a replica of the Oval Office desk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. I just thought it
4
was
legs and a top.
I always just thought it was an IKEA desk, but no. Now that you mention it, I can see it. That's really cool. You're a good artist.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
You too.
Performance art.
That's right.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's program, ladies and germs and folks, I watched a movie the other night that I had been meaning to watch for a long time. I've read about it. You could show me a still from it, and I'd be like, I know that movie. But I'd never actually sat down and watched it. And it's a 1979 Walt Disney production called The Black Hole. And I will say this. And this is kind of leans into the theme of the show. So why don't we start? Let's just start the theme right now. We can totally do this. It didn't even occur to me until just now because I was just about to slander it, which it deserves, but I wanted to start off by pointing out the things I liked about it. Okay. So the theme of today is basically the earning our complaints. Going to point out some nice things. It's like a compliment sandwich, but with no back piece of bread.
Yeah, it's an open-faced compliment
Open-faced compliment sandwich. So The Black Hole features a pretty stunning cast overall. Of
2 Academy Award winners.
Yeah, great actors. Anthony Perkins, Ernest Borgnine, Maximilian Schnell, Robert Forster. Right. And it also has some really sincerely stunning visuals, especially considering 1979.
Has also uncredited voice acting from Roddy McDowall of Planet of the Apes fame.
That's right.
And also Slim Pickens.
That's right. Instantly recognizable, by the way, when you hear them.
Instantly.
Beautiful set design.
Mm-hmm.
A fine plot, actually.
Yeah.
It is a great, solid plot. But the okay, all these things are great. That said, I don't think I have seen a more derivative work than The Black Hole. And I can't decide if it rips off Star Wars or 2001 more.
I would argue that the movie that is the most derivative from is neither 2001 or Star Wars.
Oh, shit. What do you got?
20,000 Leagues Below the Sea.
I also think that there's a lot about Maximilian Schnell's. Okay, so the plot, spoiler alert, is there's this space mission headed out to see a black hole. On the space boat is a gal who has ESP and can communicate with their robots.
Is that how that works? Is never explained.
Never explained. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Star Wars and Star Trek are full of, implausible science. But this was just like they didn't even try. they're just like because this okay. Right. But her father, I believe, was lost on a mission.
Yep.
And but they end up getting close to the black hole, and they end up under the gravitational pull of this ship and the black hole. Like they're being sucked into the black hole, but they're saved by this ship, and it's the ship that went missing. They go aboard the ship, and it's all populated with robots. Sketchy Captain Nemo character who's like, "Oh, did the crew not make it home? Oh, that's weird." And then
weird. I could have sworn I sent them off safely.
Jeez Louise. And then it turns out he's like partially like robotized the crew, and they're like just like these husks, these human husks, and like walking around in these robes. I mean, it is the story is a ripoff of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Visually, it's a ripoff of anything that there's so much almost Star Wars. It's like there's a robot that kind of is the same shape as Darth Vader. Oh, okay. And just anything they can do, like laser blast, and the action is so bad.
Yeah.
And then like they have these grandiose musical themes, and pause. It has a prelude, like a long one. It's like 5 to 8 minutes. Overture.
Yeah.
My bad. And
that's all right.
And and that directly like rips it. But it's like if 2001 is like also Sprach Zarathustra. Did I say that right? Epic. Dun, 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 dun. Huge, right? What a wonderful composition. Yep. This is like dun 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 dun. Hold on, I'm not done. Dun 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 dun. It's just like it just like doesn't stop. It's like it's so bad. It's just so bad.
Overall, I was actually way into the score of this. The sort of like heroic theme felt very generic.
Mm-hmm.
But so the movie was scored by John Barry, who did most of the James Bond films between Dr. No and The Living Daylights.
Okay.
I think maybe a couple of the Roger Moore ones he didn't do. But a lot of it reminded me of like the space launch scenes in You Only Live Twice, where it's like, I don't know, there's like this sort of like foreboding but also like procedural like approach to it, but also like the wonder and vastness of space.
Yep.
And I felt like a lot of this score felt like those moments from the You Only Live Twice score, and I was way into that. But yeah, anytime like the heroic moments came on, it definitely was no Star Wars.
Yeah, but they kept bringing that. That's the theme I'm talking about specifically. Yeah, they so badly wanted the John Williams epic. Yeah, I know I was talking about 2001 before, like that intro, which actually that intro starts off with like some much more esoteric soundscapes and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it is not. It's just not. It's just like like when a product like wants a song for their commercial, but they can't afford the rights, so they make almost that song.
It's very familiar with that routine.
It's that
hearing it and making it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, we do that a lot. We do that a lot of that around here, but we're a joke podcast. This is a big budget movie, and
it was the most expensive movie Disney had made up to that point,
and their first PG film.
That's right.
Yeah, I've got IMDb too, bud.
Right. Yeah. We read all the same trivia.
Yep. You and I do the same stupid things for fun. So
It's a shame that like because that cast is really really good, and it seems like they're all just kind of dialing it in, like they're not even happy to be there.
they probably weren't.
They're just like, let's get through this.
Yeah, I've got a TV series to get to.
But they're also on one of the most like incredible like science fiction sets ever built. Like that set is so expansive and so
it's nuts.
detailed. Like like they must have felt like they were really on this huge ship in outer space. Yet their approach to delivering their lines was just like, all right,
Yeah.
let's get this over with.
Maximilian Schnell in particular seemed like Ernest Borgnine just seemed like, can I get a sandwich? You know, like he's just like, whatever. Like, yeah, I'll do the movie. Where do I go? This way? He's Ernest Borgnine in every movie he's in, and it's great.
Yeah.
You know, but like Maximilian Schnell, you could tell is like you could see in his eyes, like, I've done Shakespeare.
Yeah, but even Robert Forster's like, I've quit better gigs than this.
Yeah. But it does not come together well. The action's super disjointed. There's so many almost moments from other movies, like including 2 cute robots, you know, droid helpers. It's just like it's so monstrously derivative of both or all three, Nemo, 20,000 Leagues, and Star Wars, and 2001.
Yeah. Overall, I like the design of most of the like the robots, especially like the Sentry robots look really cool.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that they can't bend their knees when they walk.
Yeah, like why? They made it this far? Like you couldn't afford the knees?
But they look super cool, and the Maximilian robot looks cool. I hate the way that one moves as well.
Yep.
But then the 2 like main robots are like, I hate their design, and I think it's like the big eyes that I hate the most.
Oh, it's so goofy.
It's so goofy, and like that is the only thing that feels like, oh yeah, that's right, we're a Disney movie. We got to put something in here for the kids. How about goofy eyes on the robots?
Right. Yeah, it just seems like it kind of smacks to me of like, did you ever watch Neverending Story when you were a kid?
I did. I watched it a lot when I was a kid.
Okay, I didn't. And I watched it for the first time as a grown-ass adult, and I will just say that I was just like, how much cocaine was done in a boardroom being like, yeah, and then we're going to do this, and it's going to be like the, you know, we'll do the Lord of the Rings thing, we'll do the, you know, like we'll do the Jim Henson thing. It's like people, like Jim Henson is special, and he makes, right, he and his cohorts made special things, and this is like just somebody doing like, let's do the Jim Henson thing.
Yeah.
Let's do the Jim Henson thing. It's going to be fucking great. These kids are going to fucking love it. And it's true. Like, kids do love that movie, and I didn't, for some reason, see it when I was a kid, and like people like you, did you love it?
I loved it when I was a kid. I have not watched it as an adult, so I only have the childhood memories of it.
We can do it. Does it hold up real quick? It does not.
It does not.
So yeah, I would give Black Hole visually. Well, actually, considering the times, I'll give it a solid A. Mm-hmm. But considering everything else, I give it an F.
Wait, is it the F is your overall grade? For the movie?
Yeah, like it's.
Oh wow!
Because it actually, like the movie, the unoriginality of it, is that a word? All of that combined, even with the A of the visuals and the incredibleness, like we're talking about some incredibleness here, visually speaking. Mm-hmm. But everything else is like not. It's not an F. It's like a J.
Yeah.
So it averages. I don't. Does that average to F? But it does, according to the math in the universe of this show. It does.
Yeah.
For me, what would you give it?
I wouldn't rate it that low. I'd probably give it like a C minus. Because aside, like even with all like the being derisive of all those other films and the robots being a little too, or the 2 main robots being a little too wacky for me, like it kept my interest. I think like part of it is the visually it's so appealing, but there's also like a little bit of like the beginning of Event Horizon. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like probably owes a lot to the black hole. Like even like the giant ship on the edge of the black hole, like out there, like the kind of mystery of coming on the ship and being like, what's going on? Like, the robots looking all weird and like the humanoid robots doing like all the functions. Like I was into most of that. It's really falls apart during the finale for me. Like the ending doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
And
it ends because
the action scenes are Yeah, it ends
Oh,
because.
the ending, dude. Yes, like going back to 2001, like the end of 2001 is crazy. So they have their own crazy ending. Ooh, but it's so not crazy. It's just like it's like the actors going like oh, ooh, and then all of a sudden like Maximilian Schnell goes to hell and they go to heaven. Like in like the visual. The visual metaphors, whatever you want to call them, the imagery is so cheap. It's just like all of a sudden like a bunch of like heavenly stained glass window shapes, arches are going over you. It's like what like?
Yeah, it was the most obvious imagery they could have come up with too. Like that was like a first idea, first draft, roll with it idea.
Yeah.
Like, what if when they're going through this black hole, they're visualizing heaven and hell? Somebody's like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, go with it. Go with us. Go with that. Heaven and hell. Yeah, do it.
Anybody have any other? Nah, never mind. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, they wrote the ending in like the last 5 minutes of the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you gave it a C-.
I think C-. Yeah. Yeah. It like the movie falls apart just as the ship itself is falling apart.
I don't know, man. Dude, like the acting at times and the action is so stilted. The only thing it's missing is Tommy Wiseau coming in being like, "You're breaking my heart," or whatever his lines
I also
are.
find it funny when they first discover the ship. It's called like the Cygnus or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And their ship is the Palomino. But when they're like referencing the log, like what happened to this ship, and they're like, its mission was deep space mission looking for habitable planets. The same mission as ours. But their ship is like this tiny little like pod of a ship.
Yeah.
And that ship is like this
An arc.
enormous, a giant arc of a ship.
Yeah.
With like a greenhouse and like all this stuff. It's like
How are you
I don't
guys
know,
going
like
to survive?
yeah, like that ship looks like a ship that was built for like deep space exploration.
Oh, there's also
Their
this-
ship's like
There's also a scene where they spacewalk like it's no problem, just like
yes, yeah.
outside in space. There's like wind, and it's like no,
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
no. It's not good. So, do you want to
This
get
week on Spencer and Zach, Spencer does not recommend the black hole.
That's right. And Zach, are you ambivalent?
Ambivalent. Yeah, it's it's 90 minutes of okay.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. And that's exactly how I felt about the time I spent afterwards. Like, okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I wasn't offended, but it's been a long time since I watched a movie and yelled at the screen.
Yeah.
Come on! It's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're in they go to heaven through the black hole. Anyway, they probably thought that they were like solving something too from 2001. Like, that actually upset a lot of people. That's not what God looks like. Like,
Yeah.
I know, we'll do. Send them to heaven. It's like the kind of depth that you have like when you're writing like you like maybe first start, like write poetry or something, like when you're like 13 or 14, like deep thoughts.
Yeah. It's also interesting that, I'm sure like the motivation to put all that money behind a science fiction project was definitely due to the success of Star Wars. But instead of being like, let's do a fantasy sci-fi adventure, they were like, yeah, let's do something that's more derivative of 2001, but is also like a remake of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I didn't intend that to be a that said, but it ended up being a that said.
Well,
Do you want to? Do you have a that said you want to get into?
yeah, I think maybe while we're on the subject of science fiction movies and movies that are derivative of Star Wars.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Disney approach to Star Wars and primarily the sequel trilogy, because they have done some good things. Like I don't know if you ever watched the Clone Wars series, but the finale of Clone Wars came out under the Disney umbrella, and it's phenomenal actually. And then Mandalorian's pretty good. Some people like it a lot more than I do, but it's fine visually. I think it's amazing. Probably some of the best looking Star Wars there's been. But the sequel trilogy, I think everybody would agree, even though we're happy to get more Star Wars, was mostly a disappointment. And, there was this view...
Wait, did you that said it yet?
I have not that said it
Oh,
yet.
wow.
I'm
Okay.
still talking
You're
about the good
building up.
things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me lean back.
It's all right. So, there was this I don't know. There's this view that Disney didn't know what they were doing going into the sequel trilogy, and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And Kathleen Kennedy said over and over again, like, "Oh, not all of it was planned, but loosely we knew where this was going." That said, oh, actually, even before I get to that said, I just want to say that I had kind of like started to make my peace with the fact that these movies were less than satisfying. So here's my that said. All that being said, there has been some recent controversy over the past couple weeks.
What?
And not really controversy as much as confirmation of what we suspected all along, which Daisy Ridley came out. She was on one of the talk shows, and they asked her, did you know that Rey was a Palpatine all along? Did you know, like, going into it? And she was like, oh no. Even when we were doing Rise of Skywalker, she's like, originally there was talk about me being a Kenobi, and then there was actually she's nobody. She just, happens to be super powerful. She's like, and even right up to like the end of filming Rise of Skywalker, she's like, I didn't know it was a Palpatine. She's like, J.J. Abrams was like, you're a Palpatine. She's like, all right, great. And then she's like, no, you're not. And then back to, so it's just like, yeah, it's out there now. Like even in the very last moments of wrapping up that trilogy, they still had no idea where it was going. Which is really disappointing, as that was supposed to be the finale to a 9-movie arc.
When you have the resources that a company like Disney has, and not just fiscal, but like the talent pool that you could bring in, when you have all of that at your disposal, you have nothing but time. Like they don't have to rush it out. I mean, everyone will show up when they make them. There's no like deadline. Like it's not like it's better cash in on that Star Wars thing. It's been since '77. It's stable. Shelf-stable product. When you have that much resource and you fail as miserably as they did, here's how we know that the 3 newest Star Wars aren't good, right? The 3 originals, right? When we talk about that, they're great. Have you ever heard anybody say they're not great? I never have.
No, I've heard people say they haven't seen them.
I've heard people say they don't like Star Wars. Like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're inclined to like that, everyone pretty much agrees all across the board. The first 3 movies are great. That is not what people say about the newest 3. There's like, you don't have to debate online like, I hate it, it's terrible. No, it's actually quite defensible. It's like, no, it's just not, it's not good.
Yeah.
And
I feel like these comments, sorry,
that's okay.
I'll let you get back. It's just these comments from Daisy Ridley also tank like a lot of the arguments that people had, I guess, the defenders of it. But
like, was Abrams trying to like spring it on her like a surprise? Like she wanted did he want the whole cast to be like, ooh, they wanted them to actually feel the surprise?
So that's what Lucas did when he came up with the idea that Vader was Luke's father, is he told Mark Hamill so he could respond appropriately in the moment while they were filming the scene. But David Prowse on set said different lines. I think he said on set, Obi-Wan killed your father. And that's what everybody else thought it was up until James Earl Jones did the voiceover and the movie came out. And they're like, oh shit, here's a surprise reveal that nobody except for the writers, producers, and Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones knew before the movie came out.
Interesting.
That I did not get the sense of at all was JJ's approach. It seems like he legitimately did not know. And if he did know, you'd think that he would want to tell Daisy Ridley that so she could like internalize that in her performance, especially since that's how they sort of like promoted it afterwards. Is like, this movie has to do with, Rey struggling with the fact that she's a Palpatine. It's like the actress didn't even know that while she was filming most of it to incorporate that into her performance.
Right. Well, can I do a mini that said, like sub that said on this thread?
Yes, please. And also, actually, I have another sub that said as well, if you don't mind. But
of
do
course
yours first.
Okay. My sub that said is, we have now seen enough out of J.J. Abrams, and he has tackled enough major properties, Star Trek and Star Wars, namely. And man, they look good. He makes a nice looking movie. And the action tracks, the special effects are great, in all of them. That said, I don't sincerely feel that he has. I don't feel that he has a sincere understanding of storytelling and human like dynamic or interaction or the interaction of characters. He just, I think it feel like that story confirms to me what feels like somebody winging it.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams is the master of shiny packages. It's like, wow, that looks attractive.
You mean
like,
shiny
that's great.
mystery
that's
boxes?
catching my eyes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What was your sub that said?
Well, so when they first started advertising The Force Awakens, the first thing you see in the trailer is John Boyega taking off in his stormtrooper outfit. And then, of course, all the promo stuff had him wielding the lightsaber, and he even had like a little showdown with Kylo Ren with a lightsaber. That at the end of that movie, like they really kind of launched, that promo campaign as if we were, going to get an African American, like, or I guess he's not even African American, he's British,
Right?
So,
yeah.
But we were finally going to get a black, like Star Wars guy that's not just like, I mean, Lando was obviously a great start, but the way that they sort of packaged that was like, okay, what's going on here, Star Wars? Like, and obviously there was a lot of backlash to that initially on the internet and all that. People were like, stormtroopers aren't black, Jedis aren't black.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! Like, what are these people? It's like these are the same people that have got their undies in a knot over Doctor Who being the fantastical Time Lord that travels through space and time and regenerates into different bodies. Could not be a woman. It's like, oh
yeah,
I see.
Yeah, it's like
he raised a good
that's
point.
where there's suspension of disbelief breaks.
Yeah, like nope. Yeah, nope.
Yeah, you had me with everying else. You had me with space wizards and laser swords, but you just lost me with this
Black stormtrooper.
Yeah. But so John Boyega is another person who's been very outspoken about his experience working on those movies lately, and I mean, he was sort of like critical without being specific for months and months. And again, within the past couple weeks, he was like, my advice to Disney is do not hire a black actor and put them up front on all of your promo and subject them to, all of the backlash that comes with that. And then move them to the background as quickly as possible.
That's exactly what happened.
The trilogy moves forward. Yeah.
I thought, I mean, when they introduced that character out of the gate, like, that's cool. That's an interesting take. You know what I mean? Like a defector. They could have done so much more. And they like alluded him to being kind of Force-ish, but it's like they just did a bunch of stuff and like kind of like kept their options open, just so they could apparently decide last minute that Rey was a Palpatine. Yeah. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Also, I guess Colin Trevorrow's leaked script, I read that Finn in that version of it had, like, at some point he leads like a team of ex-stormtroopers basically. And like that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah,
like,
been awesome.
I felt like his story had a lot of places it could have gone, like grappling with this guy that grew up being raised as a stormtrooper, like
deprogramming after all that.
Yeah, and they imply that he was like the stormtroopers are taking his children, I think, in The Force Awakens. Like, yeah, there seemed like there was a lot of character work to be done there, and he just became comic relief mostly in Force Awakens, and then, yeah, I don't know. I guess he almost got his moment of sacrifice in Last Jedi, but then they robbed him of that, and just just what could have been an excellent motion picture character with like so much emotional depth and character arc stuff. They were just like, see you later. Not interested.
Wasted in the interest of being superficially inclusive.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Oh, hey, let's do the Bull Moose Minute.
Sure.
Let me get the band warmed up.
Please do.
Hit it. Oh, no. Oh, I got it. No, I'm sorry. The band was off. There you go.
All right.
I'll just.
Hey there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want
sorry.
me to just do some crazy? Do you want me to do more jazz?
Yeah, I think that's your strength, and the people are aware of that now. So don't rob them of.
Here you go.
Of what you can do.
I'm gonna do some sick improv. Hit it.
All right. Hey there, Zach Jones here with the Bull Moose Minute. This week, coming up at Bull Moose, this is for the week. This is for the week beginning September 14th. We have a new EP from Neil Young, singer-songwriter Neil Young. This is the Times EP, available on CD at Bull Moose. This features music originally broadcast as part of the Porch episode of Neil Young's live-streamed Fireside Sessions. The Times EP is a politically charged collection of classics spanning Neil Young's catalog, including iconic protest songs like Ohio, Alabama, and Southern Man. So that's going to be available on CD at Bull Moose this week, the Times EP from Neil Young. Also available at Bull Moose this week, a new album from Joan Osborne.
Oh!
This is Joan Osborne's first album of original material in 6 years. It's called Trouble and Strife. Trouble and Strife finds the gifted vocalist offering a strong yet uplifting response to some of the socio-political issues plaguing our nation over the last several years. Osborne beautifully balances the weight of her messages with solace and optimism. This is not distracting at all. So that's Trouble and Strife from Joan Osborne, available on LP and CD at Bull Moose. And if that is not enough, we have one more special release coming up this week at Bull Moose. It's Yusuf Cat Stevens celebrating the 50th anniversary of his great record T for Tillerman. This is T for Tillerman 2. And to celebrate the Tillermanist. No more tea. Our tea time is over.
One lump or two, bud.
Oh, man. To celebrate, the songwriter has re-recorded the entire album with original producer Paul Samwell Smith and the original guitarist Alan Davies. The new rendition of T for Tillerman are note-for-note recreations. In many cases, they are lusher or more sparse than the original takes. Anyway, that is T for Tillerman, available on LP and vinyl at Bull Moose. Sorry, LP and CD at Bull Moose this week. Bull Moose open for retail with precautions in place for the pandemic that we happen to be in right now. And also bullmoose.com. Get your music, get your movies, get your books, get your stuff at Bull Moose. This has been your Bull Moose Jazz Exploration and Minute.
Sick.
So
what if they go through the trouble of re-recording this album, but like it turns out like Yusuf has spent like the past 50 years just like crushing cigars. Ooh, I mean, baby, it's a wild world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or he just like, I don't know.
So, put down the acoustic guitar for a keytar.
Yeah, it sounds much like your jazz exploration.
Probably.
You decided to go in that direction.
That's right. Whoa, sorry, couldn't help it. I'm gonna go put my hands on ice, just cool them down a little bit.
Yeah, I should. I can smell the smoke from here.
I was crushing
all those hot licks.
Crushing some modes.
That's right.
Yeah. I've got a quick one. A quick that said. I think that it's great that people through social network can stay connected with friends and family and share experiences and remember anniversaries and have memories together. It's almost like a living photo album, right?
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think that Facebook might be the most destructive thing created, maybe, possibly, since the atomic bomb.
It might even be worse than the atomic bomb because it like attacks your brain and soul
constantly.
Just like
it lives on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You don't just get destroyed in a single moment.
That's right. I mean, no disrespect to people who have lost, if anyone has lost family members in an atomic bomb attack. Our sincerest condolences. Mm-hmm. That said, Facebook is a horrible, horrible place that I hate. And
it's
we'll probably tell you about this episode on it.
We definitely will. will probably respond to your responses on Facebook as well. It's great to like see your old friends from high school without actually having to like connect with them in person. Just be like, oh, that's what that person's up to.
Who wants
They're
who
doing
wants to
nothing.
connect?
That's cool. Yeah, who has time for that?
It's a great way to stay in touch with people that otherwise it would just have faded away from your life.
Yeah. It's also a great spot for like people like us to be like, I don't know, I give that movie a C.
Whatever.
but
Whatever.
But yeah, like
works for everyone else.
Exactly. The level of like just the toxic nature of, especially around political season, what's going on right now, and just the way that false information can spread so freely and so quickly.
Oof.
I think John Oliver did an episode on conspiracy theories a while back, and he mentioned that documentary called Plandemic. And apparently in the first like half hour that documentary was available on YouTube, it had already been watched like 10 million times or something absurd. And they're like, there's just no way for scientists to like get out there and get in front of people with the correct factual information as quickly as that false information spread. Like, and a lot of those conspiracies are still, signed onto Facebook right now, and somebody's still plugging something that has been long debunked.
Oh, that's like, I mean, but that's just like, that shit's always been with us. Like, that's just, it's like someone does like a bunch of great things and it's like, yeah, cool, they're great. But then, whatever, they have a fall from grace or something. And it's just like, that's all that they are. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of like bad news travels faster, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But I guess the fact that false information now has an avenue to travel that quickly, so quickly that you can't even catch up with it, and it impacts the way that people approach real life. I mean, that's the reason, or one of the reasons, we have people walking around during a pandemic without wearing masks.
Oh, yeah.
When it's been scientifically proven that that's going to make life better for all of us.
That's right. That's right. Well, all right. Let's not give them any more airtime.
No.
Do you want to go with one?
Yeah, I do. I mean, just I guess on the same note, so the 24-hour news cycle. It's great that things happen and you can turn on the TV at any time and go to any news station and get some sort of information on the thing that you've just heard about. That being said, the amount of time that needs to be filled in a 24-hour news cycle, they got to find a way to fill that time, and most of the time that becomes talking heads.
I wish it was
the
band,
talking heads music.
Sadly, not them.
But sadly not them. It's just people who are supposed specialists. Sometimes they actually are specialists. A lot of times they're just a guy that has an opinion, but they get new time on major news networks, and so not only does that become boring to watch, because you get 5 minutes of them reporting the news, which is great. You get all filled in. And then you get hours of just like, well, I think that if it was going to do this, it would be like this. In my experience, it'd be like this, And the ability for that 5 minutes of news to get twisted any other way over the next hour, that's another thing that people walk away from those, well, this guy said this, now I'm going to go share that on Facebook.
Yeah, nice tie-in. Yeah, what troubles me about... We're in such like a dangerous time because here we have fearless leader condemning the media, right? Yet at the same time, you want to defend the free press, but also behaving terribly, which is like clickbait, like shock, all this shocking information, and the thing that bothers me most about it, and this, first, fuck Fox News. Fuck them. But even with Fox News, you can find the actual information on their network. That's right.
Somewhere during the day.
Yes, at the top. And then, but what the trouble for me with, regardless of one's political leaning, I am so sick of editorialized news, like headlines that like shocking, bombshell, disgraceful. It's like, just tell me what happened. And then in my brain, I will say, well, that's shocking. How disgraceful. Like, I just want to, like, I mean, I don't know where, like, Cronkite I don't want to like loud. I don't know anything about Walter Cronkite except that I used to watch the news when he was on, and Walter Cronkite would come on and just say, and this happened, and then you'd be like, okay, that happened. Actually, that sounded more like Nixon, but but you know what I mean? Like you were just getting news. Dan Rather, you got news. Diane Sawyer, news.
But that's like when there was like a 1 hour news program during the day.
I know. But it's just whether or not it's 24 hours a day or not. It's the sensationalism of the media. It's like they do play into this fear. It's like this constant. Everything needs to be so shocking, incredible, game changer. Blah, blah. It's like if you just told us calmly what happened, we could make informed decisions. We could even have, and if we could get off of fuckbook, we could like have discussions about things. That's a weird idea, right? Yeah, those two things are indelibly tied. And though I abhor our present leader and their treatment of the press, they're also kind of not helping themselves in a way in that regard.
And also, I mean, that treatment of the press is to help, shape his own narrative too, and he uses the media that he's criticizing.
Oh yeah,
to spread that narrative.
Yeah.
It's
and they broadcast it.
And they broadcast.
So fuck them. Yeah. Everyone's behaving badly. Everyone, go to detention. Yep. No.
Go sit in the corner.
Go sit in the corner with dunce cap.
Wear the dunce cap.
I've got a thing that I wonder if you want to talk about.
I'm sure I would love it.
So I love food, right? I love it. It's delicious. I eat it every day. Multiple times a day, often. I also love beverages, right? We're this show is brought to you by a beverage provider, right? Mm-hmm. Cocktails taste great. Good,
sure
like
do.
A nice cocktail. That's really nice. Like a well-prepared dish. I'm gonna do the chef. I'm doing the chef kiss. Going to a nice restaurant. They get in the before times, right? In the before times, the going in at the music, the excitement, like, oh, here's your table. Oh, thank you very much. And the whole experience, the good service, all that. Going to a good restaurant, getting some food, getting a delicious cocktail, a delicious glass of wine that just tastes so good. Or maybe like a craft beer that tastes great. These are all very great positive things. In fact, in the before times, Portland had become a hub of that. Like, recognized nationwide. If you're just tuning in, by the way, Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon. Which Portland, Oregon has fine restaurants too, no shade, just clarifying. So, yeah, this is like we'd become a hub of culinary arts, right? And we don't make our own wines here. We don't have any we have some distillers. I don't want to not include anybody, but like we don't do like proper bourbons up here and stuff. That's a Tennessee and Kentucky thing, or Tennessee specifically for bourbon. No, Kentucky for bourbon, Tennessee sour mash. But in like anything that people are emphatic about, you can kind of go down a rabbit hole with it and get really into it. In fact, like when you hear like a chef who knows what they're talking about talk about food, it's really great because you can see the enthusiasm, and I'd say the same for somebody who's like dedicated their time to like making a beer or wine. Like think about it, you have to grow the grapes and make sure the soil and the sun, boom, like there's so many steps in between, planting to drinking. It's actually kind of amazing that it happens, and certainly in the volume that it happens. And there's a lot to be celebrated, especially if restaurants are like focusing on locally sourced food and trying to be mindful about where they're getting it and the carbon footprint involved and bringing all this stuff is so great. That said, it's both the people who are emphatic about food and talk about it, and the flowery language and this is such a perfect welcome, and then the restaurants that provide those experiences for them, Like, you know, like I'm sorry. Like, I don't need to experience anyone's food. You know, it's like when bartenders like needed to be called mixologists. It's like, no, you're a bartender. That's what you are. You know, oh, you're very good at it. Okay, you're a very good bartender. You don't need like a new name. You know, we don't have to make it more than it is. What it is important and good enough. And also, you know, like with this experience over here, you know, yeah, I can taste it. It tastes good, but it's like, oh, was that $25 for a square of crispy ham? Like, whatever, you know, and then like any experience that like you're not like being, you know, you're not leaving like nourished. And I guess it's kind of like, you know, the argument of like, well, you know, not all clothes are work clothes or whatever, you know, like what about couture? Like, I would have the same opinion. Like, I don't know. Is it comfortable? I don't know. Like, that's like art, I guess. But, you know, and I guess in the food arts, I don't have a thing for it. I don't have a truck for it. I just find it like, I think that there are all kinds of great dining experiences that you can have. Like, for instance, right? The wife and I went out to a place called Leeward, which is here in Portland. And we haven't been out to many restaurants, obviously, because there's a bit of a pandemic on. So,
turns out.
Yeah, turns out. But we went, and they did a really great, they had a nice vibe out there, you know, like the lights were hanging up, and the nice safe distance tables, and everyone was like doing their masky thing and just like being as safe as you could. And they helped us with our ordering. They made cocktails. The cocktails were fantastic. And then we went over and they recommended a bottle of wine for us to share. It was great. It was delicious. Every morsel of food that we ate was made from scratch, in-house, and it was all fantastic. There was one, I can't remember which dish it was. I was talking to Caitlin about it. There was one thing that we got that was not as good as everything else, and it was still an A+. It was just like, this was still amazing, but everything else was so good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I loved it, and it was great, and it wasn't cheap, you know, but it had value. I could also go to Shays in Monument Square, which is it's a pub, you know, and it's like they have the best chicken fingers in town, and their fries are always crispy. Do they come from a bag? Probably. I don't know. It's just comfy. The decor is like, whatever. It doesn't, you know, it's not, I don't know. But the staff is wicked nice. And they're one of those places that pours like giant drinks, you know, like they usually have like talls for smalls, you know, that kind of thing. And the food is like, comes out hot. It's great. It tastes good. You eat it afterwards. You don't feel like a big pile of shit. And you just had like a good experience. And you look at your bill. It's like, yes, that is how much I like to pay for this. So to me, like in a way, those two dining experiences are the same. Like, you know what I mean? They're completely different. But what I like about both of them is that neither of them are pretentious. And that's what drives me fucking nuts.
I'm gonna drag a heavy dose of realism in here, I guess now too, is that any meal that you eat and any nourishment that you get is a privilege, you know, because there are so many people obviously in this country, not let alone around the world, that just don't get to eat at all. You know, and so I think maybe that's a problem I have with like fancy food culture too, is that everybody's so busy appreciating this fancy floral fragrant flavor, whatever.
Fancy flavor.
But meanwhile, there are people that are just like, I could go for anything right now. I guess, appreciating like the beauty of the meal, which when you have the opportunity to have a beautiful meal, you should appreciate that. But I guess when people make that their whole lifestyle, and I think about how many people don't have just anything, it just seems, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but
it's obnoxious. Is that the word?
It's obnoxious. Yeah. But it's also, again, it's just like, it's one of those privileges that people just they take for granted.
We walked by a restaurant the other day that was advertising happy hour oysters, which are more like 3 times more expensive than happy hour oysters usually are. And it's like, I mean, that's fine if that's how much you're charging for oysters, but don't like advertise it like it's some sort of deal. It's like I could literally go buy a bag of these at Harbor Fish. We could open them here, make our own mignonette. It'd be fantastic, and you know, the money would still go directly to the people who need it most, which are the farmers, fishermen, right? And yeah, it's just that whole like, oh well, oysters here though. It's like go fuck yourself.
Mind if I do a quick?
No.
Sort of ties into the same theme. So. Obviously, as a musician and music fan, I appreciate good and interesting sounds. You know, sometimes I'll hear a guitar tone and be like, oh, I wonder what guitar they're playing. I wonder what amp they're playing it through. I wonder what effects pedals they're using to get that. Or I'll be trying to achieve something and be like, how do I get that? Where, you know, I'll ask my friends with technical know-how that know what it is. They can help me get what I need to get going. That said,
I like that you're about to call out our own kind. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. When people just nerd out on gear, I glaze over so fast. Like when I'm at like a rehearsal space and somebody's talking about like they're just listing off model and serial number, whatever model numbers and like brand names and stuff, that I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And until I realize that it is actually the sound I need. I don't even want to listen to you talk about it. I don't know what it is. Like,
it's fun.
Just go away.
This is really funny because like this is a direct hit over here, and I'll take my, you know, like if I'm gonna call out food culture, like I am so guilty of that. I am so guilty of that so recently. You wouldn't believe how many. I think I spent the better part of 3 hours last night with our friend and recent guest Jonathan, prolific producer, recording and mix engineer Jonathan Wyman, talking about doing exactly the thing that makes you glaze over. So
yeah, but he's the right guy for that talk, and I'm sure you two had a blast. I guess it's more like if I'm at like a so yeah, when I'm at rehearsals, like especially in LA, like when we're at like a rehearsal facility where there's like tons of bands, and you take the break outside at the picnic table, and all of the other band people are out there, and you know there's the commingling band conversations happening. So many of them are like, "Hey, did you check out the new JP1 2020?" Like, man, it's got such sweet tone. Oh yeah, I like that, but I prefer the XL528 instead. Yep. It's like, go away. Like I'm on a break from playing music right now. Let's just enjoy the sunshine or talk about Star Wars some more.
I appreciate you trying to give me an out, but even with your second description, I'm still guilty. I am your problem.
Yeah, it's also my own problem. But
well, I'd like to finish up with one a topic that it turns out that we both. Well, you almost had it on your list, and I did have it on my list, and it's coming from my roommate and friend Lara Watterson, because I was like, what is like good but annoying? And she mentioned this next topic, and come to find out, you almost had it on yours too, and it's just I think what I find funny about it is that it's kind of obscure, but microwaves.
Yeah.
So, being able to take something that is cold or even frozen and have it be piping hot within minutes, without having to use pans, like it's convenient, it's quick. It's like it's a miracle of modern science. Especially for like the young family, like when you have the kids who, like me, I used to like at the table and I'd be like, my peas are cold. Like, well, they're like, stop talking and eat your fucking peas, but like, which they'd have to then heat up in the oven. But then all of a sudden there's this magic thing like beep, 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 boop, hot peas. I'm like, yay, eat my peas, and they're happy and everyone's happy. And I can microwave nachos when you were a kid, like, which were only chips and melted cheese with maybe salsa dumped on top of it. Maybe. These things are great. Heating up a cup of coffee, all this stuff. very convenient. That said, it seems like it's rearranging the molecular structure of the food.
It's like a Star Trek transporter.
Yes. This is Star Trek transporter made by the same generation that made cigarettes and the garden weasel. Or not even cigarettes; those have been around for a while. But like, what are some other products that were or it's like it's the same generation that had doctors endorsing cigarettes on TV. Like these are the ones that are good for you, right? Like
these are the healthy
cigarettes.
cigarettes.
Yeah. And what are some other inventions that are just terrible? The cornballer.
It's the same. Yeah. It's the same generation that I just found out yesterday has been lying to us for almost 50 years about plastics being recyclable.
Yes. So,
or to the extent that we thought they were.
So microwaves are totally safe. I mean, okay. In the interest of transparency, I haven't had a microwave since the 90s. Like whenever I got my own apartment, I was like, nah, I'm good. Like the stove it's fine. Mm-hmm. Or I'll eat the food cold. If you're eating, I don't know. This is a blanket statement, but generally speaking, if you're eating food that doesn't taste good cold, does it even taste good hot, or is it just hot and you put a bunch of salt on it? You don't notice, whatever. But I think it must have been on Awful Trash Book, but I saw this video of this kid, like a science fair kid, who had a controlled study, the 8th grade science fair, or whatever. 2 identical plants, identical soil in the same spot, watered with the same water, except one was just, tap, and the other was from the same tap, but brought to a boil in the microwave. Or heated up in the microwave at some point. Again, I got this off of Facebook, so it's not news. It's not news. This is not news.
Yes, the authenticity of the experiment may be in question.
Actually, now that I mention it, that might have been a campaign by the anti-microwave lobby.
Oh, yeah. Is there one of those?
There's got to be.
Or are we starting it right now?
Yeah. So I don't have a dog in that fight because I just don't use them. I already come to my own conclusion that I just don't think it just seemed. I don't know the science behind a microwave because I'm not a scientist, but it just seems weird that something can become hot. Pardon me, with no heat involved.
But it's also like hot and soggy or something. Like it changes the texture.
Yeah,
not just the heat.
It changes the food.
Yeah, and that actually. So what made me think of it is that. I haven't had a microwave in any of my apartments either, and I'm a like prepare food at the last minute kind of guy. So you'd think a microwave would be my friend, but I just haven't had one and have made do without even thinking about it. Like there's never been a time I've been at my apartment that I'm like, oh man, I really wish I had a microwave right now. But being home now at my parents' house, who have a microwave, I use it all the time. Like I'm always just like. Yeah, taking the leftovers out of the fridge and microwaving it. And that's what made me think of it today. I was just like, if I was somewhere else, I wouldn't be using this microwave right now, and I would find a way to to satisfy my hunger without turning this into a plate of hot mush.
I'm actually as you're talking, I'm Googling. Does a microwave change the molecular structure of food? There's a bunch of news sources I didn't recognize. I'm on health.harvard.edu. I'll go with that.
Sure, that sounds reasonable.
It heats food.
It says health and Harvard.
Are microwaves bad for your health? The cooking method that best retains nutrients is one that cooks quickly, heats the food for the shortest amount of time, and uses as little liquid as possible. Microwaving meets those criteria. Using the microwave with a small amount of water essentially steams the food from inside out. That keeps in more vitamins and minerals than almost any other cooking method, and shows microwave food can indeed be healthy. But let's not get too lost in the details. Here we go. Vegetables, pretty much any way you prepare them, are good for you, and most of us don't eat enough of them. And is the microwave often good or bad? The microwave is a marvel of engineering, miracle of convenience, and sometimes nutritionally advantageous to boot. Is this Harvard? Is it like Harvard with 2 R's?
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
Maybe this is from the pro microwave lobby.
yeah, maybe. I mean, but on Harvard Health. Oh wait, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Harvard Health. That's an insurance company. I'm not gonna believe it.
Okay.
I'm an idiot. I thought I was like, I saw Harvard. Like, oh, Harvard, there's scientists there.
Ooh. Yeah. They're smart. They know
The
what
very
they're
first
doing.
thing that came up when I Googled, does a microwave change the molecular structure of food, was no. It says very minimal molecular changes happen. It's like, then the answer is yes. The answer was,
I like how specific that search query was.
it popped right up. We're not the only ones talking about it.
All right.
Yeah, microwave confusion. Yeah, I don't know. We could go down the rabbit hole. I guess, like, without, like, I don't want to become part of the fake news problem. But I don't know. Microwaves just make me uncomfortable.
All right. We'll put an inconclusive on the
Yes.
on whatever we're pitching here.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just generally.
Yeah, it just
Makes me feel weird.
I'd rather just heat it up in a pan.
Yeah.
You know.
Or eat it cold.
All right. Do you want to give me some jazz and I'll happy hour us out of this thing?
Yeah. Let me see what I can do.
Do you think? Well, I guess the biggest question is, Zach. You've heard some hot jazz come out of this camp over the past hour or so. Do you think you can keep up?
Does this answer your question?
Holy shit! Oh, let's do this. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I want to play some real jazz.
Sounds good. Ooh. Okay. Well. That's fine. Welcome to Happy Hour. Brought to you by Maine Spirits. This week on Happy Hour, we're going to learn how to make a I said brand new. I'm so distracted by the jazz, I just said stupid things. This week on Happy Hour, I'm going to teach you how to make a regional type cocktail. At least it's named regionally. The name of this cocktail is Remember the Maine. So this rich and herbaceous riff on the Manhattan, Remember the Maine, was a rally cry during the Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War was fought over the United States' unanimous rejection to tiny food portions or tapas. Why would you be so mad about that? Just eat more tapas. This is problem solved. War averted. Ingredient. So the tools we'll need. We're going to need a mixing glass, a bar spoon, a coupe, and a coupe glass, a knife, or a veg peeler, right? That's going to be for our garnish, I imagine. For ingredients, we're going to need rye or bourbon, but rye is preferred. And whereas last week we made a Sazerac, why don't you use your rye? You went and got a bottle of rye last week to make the drink, so do it again. We'll just use that rye. Lean into it, if you have any left. We're going to need sweet vermouth, cherry hearing, and in this case, there was a shortage up here, so I got a different cherry liqueur, and it's not quite the same, but it might fill the same spot. But if you get cherry hearing, that's what the recipe calls for. We're going to need absinthe, and which we also used last week, which is great, and a lemon twist. So let's build this drink. In your mixing glass, you are going to combine the following ingredients. 2 ounces of rye, 0.75 ounces of sweet vermouth, 0.25 ounces of cherry hearing, and 1 bar spoon of absinthe. Now stir those and then strain them into, you should have ice in this glass, by the way, in the mixing glass. Stir them until cold and strained into a chilled coupe glass, and then garnish with lemon twist. That's why you have your veg peeler. And we'll just drop that lemon twist in there after expressing the oils and rimming the glass, and drop it in, and let's take a sip. Ah, that's what I usually say when I have my normal music bed. Remember the Maine. What a drink. What a drink for this time of year. Reintroducing the brown waters back into our arsenal of liqueurs and liquors, rather, that we drink. We always want you to enjoy these cocktails. I totally stuffed like dude, this is where I normally edit it out. Shit. We hope that you are enjoying these cocktails. We hope that you enjoy making this one, and hopefully we're bringing them to you in a way that is palatable for you, that you can understand and can make at home and enjoy at home. And as always, we want you to drink. Oh, wait, no, I should mention you can find out more about these cocktails and other delicious cocktails at mainspirits.com on their app, which you can download for your smartphone, or on Instagram at main_spirits. And this is the part where I would do my tagline and wrap it up by saying, and as always, we want you to drink deliciously and responsibly. That was great jazz. Really great.
Thanks,
Great
man.
work out there.
Well, I did go to Berkeley, so I'm studied.
Yeah, well, I mean, you couldn't have gone to Berkeley for very long if you don't like talking about gear. This show is brought to you by Main Spirits, Bull Moose, State Theater Portland, Sun Tiki Studios, and the Maine Music Alliance. And my name is Spencer Albee. We don't usually do that at the end of the show. And my
name is
there
Zach
he is.
Jones, which first time ever saying it at the end of the show.
That's right. It's the first time I've said our names at the end of the show. If you made it this far, whatever. But thanks for joining us. And Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe. It's a Mistakes Were Made production.
Thank you.
Thank you.